Okay, so picture this. You're standing in St. Peter's Square,
Right.
surrounded by all the grandeur of the Vatican City.
Mm-hmm.
But right under your feet lies this whole hidden world.
Yeah.
This labyrinth of tunnels, tombs, and maybe even some skeletons in the closet.
Literally.
And that's exactly what we're diving deep into today.
Right.
The Vatican's underground,
Fascinating.
to uncover its secrets and explore what they reveal about this powerful institution.
Absolutely.
We've got historical accounts, archaeological findings,
Right.
and even some spooky stories to guide us on this journey.
A little bit of everything.
And I know that you're particularly interested in the Vatican necropolis,
I am.
the ancient burial ground that was discovered right under St. Peter's Basilica.
Yeah.
I mean, who wouldn't be intrigued by stumbling upon an ancient Roman graveyard
Right.
while preparing a tomb for a pope?
Wild.
It's got to be one of the most fascinating discoveries of the 20th century.
It is really remarkable.
So tell me about it.
The necropolis, or as it's called, the Scavi, offers a glimpse into the lives and beliefs of early Christians in Rome.
Okay, so take us back to that moment in 1939.
Oh?
Workers are preparing a tomb for Pope Pius XI,
Right.
and bam, they hit something unexpected.
Yeah.
What did they find down there?
Well, a whole network of tombs dating back to the 2nd century AD,
Wow.
right in the heart of Roman society.
That's crazy.
It was a huge revelation, both for the historical significance, but also what it revealed
Yeah.
about early Christian burial practices.
Okay, so we're talking about more than just the age of these tombs.
Right.
What specifically did this necropolis teach us about how early Christians lived and died in ancient Rome?
Well, for one thing, the layout and structure of the tombs themselves were really insightful. They found evidence of simple earthen graves, but also more elaborate mausoleums,
Oh, wow.
suggesting a diverse Christian community
Okay.
with different varying social
Just
status.
different levels of wealth?
Exactly. And also the presence of decorative motifs like fish and anchors, which symbolized key aspects of early Christian belief.
So almost like a snapshot of this community
Exactly.
frozen in time.
Yeah.
And this is all happening right under one of the most important churches in the world.
I know.
Wild.
But there's another layer to this whole story, right? The connection to St. Peter, because
Yeah.
the location of this necropolis aligns with the ancient accounts.
It does.
Placed St. Peter's burial site on Vatican Hill,
Exactly.
and excavations revealed a tomb
They did.
referred to as the Trophy of Gaius
Uh-huh.
that some believe to be the final resting place of the first pope.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's we've got this puzzle,
It is.
and this tomb is a key piece.
Right.
But you said some believe. There's some debate surrounding this, right?
There is, not everyone is convinced that the Trophy of Gaius is actually St. Peter's tomb.
Okay.
Some scholars point to the lack of definitive physical proof.
They argue that the identification is based more on tradition than evidence.
Okay, so no inscription that says Peter slept here.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But regardless of the debate,
Mm-hmm.
the symbolic power of this site is undeniable
I can see that.
for many people.
Yeah.
The necropolis is a sacred space,
Right.
a place of pilgrimage that connects them to the very roots of their faith.
Yeah, it's really powerful. It's a powerful reminder of how history and belief intersect,
Definitely.
often in ways that are really difficult to fully untangle.
Yeah, for sure.
But the necropolis is just one part of this subterranean world.
Mm-hmm.
We've also got the Vatican Secret Archives,
Yeah.
a place that seems to spark endless fascination and speculation.
It does, for sure.
So tell me, what are the Vatican Secret Archives and what makes them so special?
Imagine this vast library
Okay.
containing centuries of documents, papal bulls,
Oh, wow.
correspondence between popes and kings,
Really?
records of church councils, even letters from figures like Michelangelo and Galileo.
That's incredible.
It's a treasure trove
Yeah.
of historical information,
Mm-hmm.
documenting not just religious matters,
Yeah.
but also political intrigue, scientific discoveries, and cultural trends across the ages.
Wow. So it's like this window into the inner workings of the Vatican
It is
and its role in shaping world events.
Yeah.
But secret implies that these documents are hidden away,
right.
inaccessible to the public. Is that true?
Well, the name is a bit misleading.
Okay.
The archives aren't truly secret
Mm-hmm.
in the sense of being hidden. It's more that they're highly restricted.
Okay.
So scholars and researchers can apply for access,
Mm-hmm.
but there are strict protocols in place
Right.
to protect the documents and control what information is released.
So less about keeping things completely hidden
Exactly.
and more about carefully guarding access,
Right.
which, of course, just fuels the curiosity.
It does.
Like, what are they so concerned about protecting?
Part of it's simply the fragility of the documents themselves.
Right.
Many are centuries old.
Oh,
And they require special handling to preserve them.
that makes sense.
But there's also the sensitive nature of some of the information they contain.
Okay.
We're talking about like personal correspondence,
Mm-hmm.
internal church deliberations, records of controversial events,
Right.
things that could be misinterpreted or used to paint the Vatican in a negative light.
I can see how that would make them cautious.
Yeah.
And of course, where there's secrecy,
Mm.
there are bound to be rumors.
Sure.
We've all heard the whispers about alien secret societies' lost gospels.
Right.
Is there any truth to those?
Well, it's important to separate fact from fiction.
Of course.
While the archives definitely contain documents that challenge traditional narratives
Right.
and shed light on controversial episodes,
Uh-huh.
there's no evidence to support the more outlandish claims.
So no blueprints for a Vatican spaceship hidden in a vault?
Not that I'm aware of,
Okay. Good to know.
but that doesn't mean the archives aren't a source of genuine historical intrigue.
Right. It's that combination of real historical significance and the allure of the unknown
Right.
that keeps people fascinated.
Exactly.
But it's like a giant puzzle box.
Yeah,
And we only get to see a few pieces at a time.
for sure.
And that's part of what makes it so compelling.
Absolutely.
There's always this sense that there's more to discover,
Mm.
more layers to peel back.
Right.
Speaking of layers, we've got tombs, we've got archives.
Yes.
What else lies beneath the Vatican?
Good question.
The rumors about vast underground vaults filled with treasures. They sound like something straight out of an adventure movie.
You're not far off.
Really?
While access to these vaults is even more restricted than the archives,
Wow.
there's no denying that they exist,
Oh.
and the speculation about what they contain is truly tantalizing.
So imagine you're granted access to one of these mysterious vaults.
Okay.
What do you think you might find inside?
It's hard to say for sure,
Yeah.
but based on the Vatican's history and the sheer scale of its collection,
Mm.
we could be talking about anything from priceless works of art,
Okay.
ancient manuscripts,
Wow.
to religious relics of immense importance.
Religious relics,
Mhm.
like pieces of the true cross
Oh,
or
yeah.
the Holy Grail.
Could be.
Is that where they're hiding all that good stuff?
Again, we're venturing into the realm of speculation here.
I know.
But it's not entirely implausible.
Right.
The Vatican has been a major collector and custodian of religious artifacts for centuries.
Yeah, of course.
And it's only logical that some of those objects
Right.
would end up in secure storage.
It's like a treasure hunt on a grand scale.
Yeah, it is.
But it's not all about glittering artifacts and ancient texts.
Right.
There's a darker side to the Vatican's underground, isn't there?
There is.
The disappearance of Emanuela Orlandi.
Yeah.
It's a story that sends chills down my spine.
It's one of the most enduring mysteries connected to the Vatican.
Yeah.
And it's a tragic reminder that even in a place
Mm-hmm.
associated with holiness and faith, there are shadows and secrets.
For those who aren't familiar with the case,
Mhm.
can you give us a brief overview?
Sure.
What happened to Emanuela Orlandi?
Well, in 1983, 15-year-old Emanuela Orlandi vanished without a trace from the streets of Rome.
Oh, wow.
Her father was a Vatican employee,
Okay.
which immediately fueled speculation about a possible connection to the Holy See.
Right. So right from the start,
Yeah,
there's this cloud of suspicion hanging over the Vatican.
it's true.
What are some of the theories about what happened to her?
Well, the theories range from a botched kidnapping attempt by a criminal organization
Okay.
to a cover-up involving high-ranking Vatican officials.
Wow.
Some believe she was taken hostage to secure the release of Mehmet Ali Akka,
Right.
the man who attempted to assassinate Pope John Paul II.
Okay.
Others suggest that she stumbled upon a Vatican secret
Oh, wow.
and was silenced to protect it.
Wow. Each theory is more unsettling than the last.
It is a very disturbing case.
What makes this case so difficult to solve?
The lack of physical evidence is a major obstacle.
Okay.
Despite numerous investigations, her body's never been found,
Right.
and there's been no definitive proof to support any particular theory.
It's a heartbreaking case.
It is.
And the fact that it remains unsolved after all these years just adds to the anguish.
I agree.
But it also highlights the power of the unknown, right? The way it can capture our imagination and
Yeah.
fuel our darkest suspicions.
It does.
And speaking of the unknown,
Right.
the Vatican's underground isn't just about tombs and archives and missing persons.
Right.
There's a whole other layer to explore.
There is.
The world of caves and catacombs and ghost stories.
Of course.
Right.
Now we're venturing into the realm where history and folklore intersect,
Okay.
where the line between fact and fiction becomes blurred.
It does.
These subterranean spaces with their winding tunnels and ancient burial chambers, they've long been associated with the supernatural.
So paint a picture for me. What's it like down there in these catacombs?
Imagine yourself like descending into the darkness.
Okay.
The air is thick with the scent of damp earth and the weight of centuries. You're surrounded by the bones of the dead.
Wow.
They remain stacked in niches along the walls.
That's incredible.
The silence is broken only by the sound of your own breathing
Yeah.
and the occasional drip of water.
I can almost hear it.
It's a place that evokes a primal sense of awe and fear, a reminder of our own mortality and the mysteries that lie beyond.
Yeah, that sounds fascinating and terrifying at the same time.
It is.
And of course, in a place like this,
Right.
there are bound to be ghost stories.
Of course.
Do you have a favorite?
I do.
One that really captures the spooky atmosphere of the Vatican catacombs.
There's one account that always sends chills down my spine.
Okay, tell me.
It comes from a priest who claimed to have encountered a shadowy figure with glowing red eyes
Oh, wow.
while exploring the catacombs in the 1960s. He described feeling a sudden drop in temperature
Okay.
and this sense of overwhelming dread
Wow.
before the figure just vanished into thin air.
Okay. That's the kind of story that makes you want to sleep with the lights on.
Right.
But is there any way to know if these stories are true?
It's impossible to say for sure, but I think what's interesting is that these stories persist
Yeah.
even in the face of skepticism.
Right.
They tap into something deep within us. This fascination with the unknown and a desire to connect with the world beyond our senses.
It's like those stories, whether true or not, serve a purpose.
Right.
They remind us that there are things we can't explain,
Mm-hmm.
mysteries that may always remain unsolved.
Definitely.
And that's part of what makes the Vatican's underground so captivating.
It is a fascinating place.
Well said.
Thanks.
So we've delved into the necropolis,
Yes.
the secret archives, mysterious vaults,
Right.
a chilling disappearance, and now haunted catacombs.
It seems like we've only just begun to scratch the surface
Yeah, it does.
of the Vatican's underground.
The Vatican's underground is vast and multifaceted,
Absolutely.
and there are many more stories to uncover.
For sure. So the Vatican's underground,
Mm-hmm.
it isn't just a place of ancient tunes and spooky stories.
Right.
It's also like a repository of knowledge,
Okay.
a place where centuries of history are documented
Yeah.
in meticulous detail.
Right.
And that brings us back to the Vatican Secret Archives,
Of course.
a place that continues to fascinate and intrigue people
Yeah, it does.
all around the world.
You mentioned earlier that the archives contain this vast array of documents, everything from papal bulls to letters from famous figures.
It does.
Can you unpack that a bit for me? Like,
Yeah.
what exactly are these documents?
Okay.
And what can they tell us about the Vatican's role in history?
Well, let's start with those papal bulls you mentioned.
Okay.
These are like official papal documents, kind of like decrees or proclamations,
Right.
dealing with a wide range of topics.
So, like, what kind of topics?
Everything from doctrinal matters
Okay.
to political treaties
Wow.
to the appointment of bishops.
Okay, so really important stuff.
Yeah.
High-level stuff.
They provide a fascinating window into how the papacy exerted its authority and influence throughout history.
So it's not just about religious pronouncements.
Yeah.
These bulls were tools of power,
Yeah.
shaping political landscapes
Absolutely.
and influencing the course of events.
Yeah, and the archives contain a wealth of correspondence
Okay.
between popes and monarchs,
Really?
emperors and other political leaders,
Okay.
revealing the complex interplay
Mm-hmm.
between the church and secular powers.
So we can trace the evolution of diplomatic relations,
Right.
the Vatican's involvement in wars
Yeah.
and peace negotiations,
Of course.
and its role in shaping the cultural and intellectual landscape of Europe.
Definitely.
It sounds like these documents could rewrite history books.
I mean, they definitely could add
Yeah.
some juicy footnotes.
Right. Or some serious chapters.
For sure.
Are there any examples that stand out?
Oh, there are countless examples.
Like, give me one.
One that comes to mind is the correspondence
Okay.
relating to the Galileo affair.
Okay.
These documents shed light on the church's response
Mm-hmm.
to Galileo's groundbreaking astronomical discoveries
Right.
and the complex interplay between science and religion during that period.
It's fascinating to see how those two seemingly separate spheres clashed and sometimes collided.
They did.
What about the rumors of more controversial documents?
Yeah.
Things that the Vatican might be hesitant to reveal.
It's inevitable that an institution with such a long and complex history would have its share of controversies.
Of course.
Right, and the archives certainly contain documents relating to periods of conflict, persecution, and even internal dissent within the church.
Like the Inquisition. I imagine those records are particularly chilling.
The records of the Inquisition are indeed a sensitive topic. They document a dark chapter in the church's history.
Right.
A period of religious persecution and intolerance.
Yeah.
While these documents can be disturbing to read, they also provide valuable insights into the social and political climate of the time.
Yeah, it's a reminder that history is rarely black and white.
Absolutely.
Even institutions we associate with morality and righteousness have their flaws and complexities.
They do.
But let's shift gears a bit.
Okay.
We've talked about the documents themselves, but what about the physical space of the archives? What's it like to be down there, surrounded by centuries of history?
So imagine row upon row of towering shelves, stretching as far as the eye can see.
Wow.
The air is cool and dry, with a faint scent of old paper and leather.
Okay.
The silence is broken only by the rustle of pages.
I love that.
As researchers carefully examine ancient texts, it's a place that evokes a sense of reverence. A realization that you're in the presence of something.
Yeah.
Truly extraordinary.
Right. It sounds almost sacred.
It does.
Like a temple dedicated to knowledge.
Yeah.
Instead of a deity.
Right.
And it makes you wonder, what's the process for accessing these documents? Is it like a scene from a movie with researchers requesting ancient scrolls and having them delivered on velvet cushions?
Not quite.
Okay.
Access to the archives is a rigorous process.
Okay.
Researchers must submit detailed proposals outlining their research topics and the specific documents they wish to consult once approved.
Okay.
They're given a limited amount of time to examine the materials under the watchful eyes of archivists.
So it was a privilege.
Yeah.
Not a,
Definitely.
And it makes sense that they would be so careful considering the value and fragility of these documents.
Absolutely.
But all this talk of documents makes me think about another aspect of the Vatican's underground.
Those mysterious vaults you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
What's the connection between the archives and these vaults?
It's all about preservation and protection.
Okay.
The Vatican has amassed this incredible collection of artifacts and treasures over the centuries.
Of course.
And not everything can be displayed in museums or chapels.
Of course not.
Some objects are simply too fragile, too valuable, or too controversial to be exposed to the public.
So the vaults are like a safety deposit box.
Yeah, you could say that.
For history's most precious and potentially problematic artifacts.
Exactly. They're designed to safeguard these objects from theft damage and the scrutiny of the outside world.
Makes sense. So we're talking about more than just documents down there. What kind of objects might be hidden away in these vaults?
Right.
I mean, we've got to go back to the Holy Grail at some point.
It's fun to speculate.
It is.
Isn't it?
It is. While the Vatican keeps the contents of its vaults shrouded in secrecy, it's not hard to imagine what treasures might be hidden down there.
Give me some.
We could be talking about priceless works of art.
Okay.
Ancient manuscripts that predate the Bible.
Wow.
Even religious relics associated with Jesus and the apostles.
Like the Shroud of Turin?
Maybe.
Or fragments of the True Cross?
Possibly.
I mean.
The Vatican has long been a destination for pilgrims seeking to venerate relics.
Right.
And it's only natural that they would acquire a significant collection over time.
It's mind-boggling to think that these objects, with their immense historical and religious significance, might just be sitting in a vault. Beneath the Vatican.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder what stories they could tell.
It does.
What secrets they might hold.
Yeah.
And that's part of the allure of the Vatican's underground, isn't it?
Definitely.
The sense of mystery, the possibility of uncovering hidden truths, the thrill of exploring the unknown.
Exactly.
It's like a real-life Indiana Jones adventure.
It is.
But with religious history instead of golden idols.
Yeah.
But let's not forget the darker side of this hidden world.
Sure.
We talked earlier about the tragic disappearance of Emanuela Orlandi. Does her case offer any clues about what might be going on beneath the surface in those shadowy spaces we've been discussing?
It's tempting to connect Emanuela's disappearance to the Vatican's underground.
Right.
To imagine her stumbling upon a secret that led to her demise.
Right.
But it's important to remember that we're dealing with speculation, not facts.
Right. We don't want to fall into the trap of conspiracy theories without evidence.
Exactly.
But there's no denying that her disappearance raises uncomfortable questions about the Vatican's role in the affair.
For sure.
What's their official stance on the case?
The Vatican has consistently denied any involvement in Emanuela's disappearance and has cooperated with Italian authorities in the investigation. However, many still believe that they're withholding information.
Okay.
Perhaps to protect their reputation or to shield individuals who may have been involved.
It's easy to see why people would draw that conclusion.
I agree.
The Vatican's reputation for secrecy, the fact that Emanuela's father worked there, the lack of concrete answers, it all feeds into the suspicion that there's more to the story than we've been told. But let's not dwell on the darkness for too long.
Okay.
We've talked about tombs, archives, vaults, and a chilling disappearance. What about those spooky catacombs?
Right.
Are there any other stories that capture the eerie atmosphere of those underground spaces?
There are countless tales of strange occurrences.
Wow.
And unsettling encounters in the Vatican's catacombs.
Give me one.
Some speak of disembodied voices.
Really?
Echoing through the tunnels.
Wow.
Others of cold spots.
Okay.
And sudden gusts of wind.
Wow.
As if unseen presences were moving through the darkness.
I'm getting goosebumps.
It's creepy down there.
Do you think there's any truth to these stories? Or are they simply the product of overactive imaginations? Fueled by the creepy setting?
As a historian, I tend to approach such stories with a healthy dose of skepticism.
Sure.
But I also recognize the power of place.
Okay.
The way certain environments can evoke a sense of awe and wonder or fear and unease.
Right. It's like those spaces hold a certain energy, like a residue of the past that lingers in the present.
For sure.
And when you're surrounded by the bones of the dead in a place that has been associated with death and the afterlife for centuries, it's not hard to imagine that the veil between the worlds might be a little thinner.
It might be.
Exactly, whether it's the spirits of the dead, residual psychic energy, or simply the power of suggestion.
Sure.
These places have a way of making us question what we believe, what we think we know.
That's true.
It's a reminder that there are things beyond our understanding,
For sure.
mysteries that may never be fully explained.
Right.
But perhaps that's part of the appeal.
It is.
We're drawn to the unknown, to the possibility of glimpsing something beyond our everyday reality.
And the Vatican's underground, with its blend of history, faith, and mystery, it offers a tantalizing glimpse into that hidden world.
We've explored ancient tombs, secret archives, mysterious vaults, and spooky catacombs.
Yeah.
But there's one more aspect of the Vatican's underground that we need to delve into, a connection that might surprise you.
Really?
Well, it's no secret that the Vatican is a treasure trove of art, with masterpieces displayed in museums and chapels above ground.
Of course.
But what many people don't realize is that there's a whole other world of art hidden beneath the surface.
Intriguing. Tell me more.
Okay.
What kind of art are we talking about?
Okay.
And why is it hidden away underground?
Well, that's what we're going to explore next. Welcome back to our exploration of the Vatican's underground.
Yeah, it's a journey that's taken us from ancient burial grounds to secret archives, from chilling disappearances to spooky catacombs.
And now, as promised, we're going to delve into this hidden world of art beneath the Vatican.
Okay.
You might be picturing dusty storage rooms filled with forgotten canvases.
Right.
But the reality is so much more fascinating.
It is. The Vatican's art collection is vast and renowned. But what's displayed in the museums and chapels is really just the tip of the iceberg.
So there's a lot more.
Beneath the surface lies a collection of art that rivals anything you'll find above ground.
Okay, so we're talking about more than just overflow storage. Oh. There's a deliberate reason for keeping some of this art hidden away.
There are several reasons.
Like what?
Well, some works are simply too fragile. to be exposed to the elements or the wear and tear of public display.
Right. They have to be preserved.
Others might be deemed too controversial for modern audiences.
Oh, yeah.
Perhaps depicting sensitive historical events or theological themes that could be misconstrued.
So it's a mix of preservation and protection.
Right.
But also a bit of curatorial control.
Yeah, I mean, they're safeguarding not just the physical integrity of the art,
right,
but also its interpretation.
It makes you wonder what treasures are down there.
It does.
Hidden from public view.
Yeah, are we talking about lost masterpieces by Renaissance masters?
Right.
Or perhaps early Christian art that challenges traditional narratives?
It's a tantalizing mystery.
It is, while the Vatican doesn't release detailed inventories of its underground holdings.
Right. Of course not.
We can glean some clues from historical records.
Yep.
And the occasional glimpses that scholars and researchers have been granted.
So it's like piecing together a puzzle?
Yeah, it is.
Trying to imagine the scope and significance of this hidden collection.
Right, and that's part of what makes it so compelling.
I agree.
There's this sense of discovery, a thrill of the unknown.
Yeah.
We know that there are mosaics, frescoes, sculptures, tapestries,
wow,
and countless other forms of art down there, but the specifics are shrouded in secrecy.
It's like an art historian's dream.
It is.
Or maybe their worst nightmare, depending on how organized those vaults are.
Right.
But beyond the individual pieces, what does this hidden collection tell us about the Vatican itself?
That's a good question.
About its values, its priorities, its relationship with art?
I think it reveals a deep understanding of the power of art.
Okay.
Both as a tool of propaganda and a source of spiritual inspiration.
Right.
The Vatican has long been a patron of the arts.
It has.
Commissioning some of the greatest masterpieces in history.
Of course, we think of Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel ceiling.
Exactly.
Or Raphael's frescoes in the Vatican Palace.
Right? Those are works that were created to awe and inspire.
Yeah.
To convey the grandeur and authority of the church.
Exactly, but the underground collection suggests a more nuanced approach.
Yeah, I think so.
Like a recognition that some art is best kept hidden.
Yeah.
Protected from misinterpretation or the changing tides of public opinion.
It's a fascinating paradox.
It is.
On one hand, the Vatican is a global institution.
Right?
That seeks to project its message to the world. But on the other hand, it's fiercely protective of its secrets.
It is.
Its inner workings and its control over its own narrative.
And that tension, that interplay between openness and secrecy.
Right.
It's something we've encountered throughout our exploration of the Vatican's underground.
Yeah, we have.
It's a place that defies easy categorization.
It does.
A realm where faith, power, history, and art intertwine in really unexpected ways.
It's true.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the Vatican's underground,
okay,
what's the most important takeaway for our listener today?
Okay.
What should they remember about this hidden world beneath one of the most iconic landmarks on Earth?
I think the key takeaway is that the Vatican's underground is more than just a physical space.
Right.
It's a reflection of the Vatican itself, with its layers of history, its complexity, its contradictions.
Yeah.
And its enduring power to fascinate and intrigue.
It's a place that sparks our imagination.
It does.
Challenges our assumptions, and leaves us with a sense of wonder and perhaps a few lingering questions.
That's the beauty of exploration, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is.
It's not about finding all the answers.
Right.
But about embracing the mystery and continuing the journey of discovery.
So to our listener, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep digging deeper.
Yeah.
Who knows what secrets you might uncover,
right?
What connections you might make.
The world both above ground and below is full of hidden wonders.
It is.
Just waiting to be revealed.
Until next time, fellow deep divers.
Yes.
Keep your minds open and your curiosity ignited.